University too. I had a dilemma one time. I was working on my vehicle in my neighborhood outside of Homestead Air Force Base. And this particular day, I was going to change out my left and right tie rods, the outer tie rod, the inner tie rod. Had everything ready to go, all my tools and the replacement tie rods, everything there, I thought. I proceeded to take off my tire and begin to disassemble the outer tie rod, and it had a problem coming off. It's like it was frozen, arrested tight. I tried everything. I even got my heavy-duty plumber's wrench to try to get this tie rod to break loose. And I worked with it and worked with it, and I was starting to get frustrated. This is not making any sense at all. And I've done this before. Seemed like the more I worked with it, the worse it got. And I thought, if this plumber's tool can't get this off, then it's not coming off, because this takes off galvanized pipe. This works. It wasn't happening. So my next thing was to take my hacksaw and just saw it off, because I'm going to replace it. I don't need it. Why do I need to even bother trying to unscrew it? I took my hacksaw and just sawed it off. No problem, it came right off. The next thing I did, when I went to, I got the outer tie rod sawed off. When I went to take my tie rod tool and push it over the inner tie rod to get it off, none of the, I had a universal set, but this particular set did not fit this vehicle, my Ford truck. I went to put the tool over the tie rod so I can turn it to twist it off. That's how it works. And I had about 5 or 6 different universal sets for tie rod. You put it in there, you slide it over, you turn, it comes out. This is a tie rod remover tool, an inner tie rod remover tool. This actually slides over the inner tie rod and you twist after. It didn't happen. And I thought, this is not making any sense. What's wrong? And I'm taking it off, putting it back on, taking it off, putting it back on, and wondering, is something, am I not doing this right? Because I've done this before, this has to work. And finally, I realized for certain vehicles, certain sets don't fit. And I was in a dilemma. I just saw my tie rod. It's getting late. How am I going to get my truck home? And I'm brainstorming. And this has to be divine intervention, because I didn't know what to do. And I'm wondering, what do I do? I remember saying, please, help me. And when I did that, instantly, the thought came to me to take my jack handle. It was hollow inside. I just needed a small piece. I took my jack handle, took my hacksaw, and sawed me a small piece off. Why was that? When I got that piece off, I put it on my inner tie rod, and I was praying that it fits over that tie rod, and not only fit, I needed to go in about a couple of inches and to be snug and tight. I did that. And I hit it with the hammer. It went on and was snug and tight. I took the outer tie rod. I had to saw some off. I took the outer tie rod that I sawed off. And it was just enough stem hanging where I took, and I knew it had to be exactly right to fit back into my steering nickel. I hammered that in on. And I pulled on it, I looked at it, I pulled it, I hit it. It was so tight. It was like it had the strength before I even cut the tie rod, even stronger. I was able to put that outer tie rod back into my steering nickel, put the clamp back in there. I'm sorry, put the nut back on, put the little pin back in there, put my tire back on. I drove home. Where did that come from? Only one place. There is no way. I never done this before. It came out of nowhere. So that had to be, to me, divine intervention. Adversity 2. I had a dilemma. I asked for help, and look what happened. That wasn't normal. Where did that come from? Adversity 2, this really happened. Okay, so I took my hacksaw and I was confident I can saw this off, get it over with, and install the new one. That's Boo laughing at me. And I did that. But I didn't have a clue that my tie rod end tool did not fit my inner tie rod, and I was in a dilemma. You see what that is right here?
What?
Tie rod end. That's tie rod end.
What that is.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
How'd you know what it is?
I know what it is right there.
Right where? Point at it. Tie rod end right here?
Yeah.
Tie rod end right there. You got that?
Yeah.
This is the outer tie rod right here. Inner tie rod is back behind
I get one globe off. Dang it. I get one globe off.
Cause I can't hold my camera with the other glass slippery. Okay. So I took my hacksaw and I was confident I can saw this off, get it over with, and install the new one. That's Boo laughing at me. And I did that. But I didn't have a clue that my tie rod end tool did not fit my inner tie rod, and I was in a dilemma. That was a mess. Why are you laughing, Boo?